Hey there, this is Erica from Ever Educating, and this channel is teaching tips, tools, ideas, and resources for new college instructors, as well as other advice for those in academia or in alt-ac careers. And it's been a while since I shared a video on what tools, what apps I use on my phone to stay productive and to have a good work-life balance. So I thought I'd share that for the latest update. I'll have linked below my other videos on this topic. But if you have your own apps to share, let me know in the comments as well.
Since I have other videos about apps, I don't want to repeat too many, but there are some that I just use all the time when it comes to that work-life aspect and the self-care. So to start with, A Tracker, this first app here on the left, I use this all the time when I'm working. I used it when I was an academic, when I taught, and now here as an instructional designer. And basically what it does is you can just create different tasks and you can track how much time you're spending on each task. So I don't want to open it up because it does have private information about my work. But again, basically you might have, create a task that's called dissertation writing, have a task that's called English 101, have a task that's English 102, a task that's, composition 102. And then you could just track how much time are you spending on these things. And so obviously those are work ideas, academic ideas, but you could also have others like, all right, I want to keep my house tidy. And the best way I do that is to spend 15 minutes each day cleaning up my house. And so in that case, you might want it's called cleaning. You might have one that's called exercise, maybe weightlifting and cardio. Maybe it's creative writing or crocheting, whatever hobbies you have that make you happy. And you want to make sure you're spending time devoting to that hobby. Then again, you can make a little task and then you could track how often you're doing it. So the tracker allows you to track the time, let's say on a given day, but you can also see your history. So you can see trends. How much time are you spending on cleaning throughout the past month? How much time are you spending on your dissertation on a weekly basis? So you can really get that sense of where your time is going. So I really like this one. There's a free version that allows you to have a few tasks, and then I paid for it. I think it was like $4.99 or something for like ever. It's not a monthly subscription, and you can do as many tasks as you want really. So I do recommend the paid version, but there is a free version if you want to try it out before committing. So that's great for time tracking, productivity, all that kind of stuff. Spotify and podcasts, these are my go-to when it comes to a few things. So if I am working and I need to be able to focus, I find the silence, a little bit distracting. So you go to Spotify and I put on, what's it called? Music with no lyrics, right? So instrumental music. So sure, that might be classic music, but really I like instrumental pop music. I find great because it's a little bit more, happy, a little more active, what I usually listen to. But again, there's no lyrics to distract me from the work. So that's one way I use Spotify, instrumental music when working. I also use it when doing, home tasks. So when I'm doing that cleaning, when I'm washing my dishes, potentially when I'm exercising, when going for a walk, I'll listen to like regular music that I enjoy. So again, have a little bit of distraction while I'm doing something that I don't particularly enjoy. Cleaning is not my jam, Spotify does have podcasts, and sometimes I listen to those, but for the most part, I do use the actual podcast app. I subscribe to my favorites. I try to have a range, so I do have some videos about podcasts that I'll share below of what I listen to, but I like having ones that are short, 15 minutes or so, and ones that are longer, 45 to an hour. So if I'm going to go for a walk, there's one podcast that I love that it's tied to publishing because I'm an aspiring author, and their episodes tend to be about 45 minutes to an hour, and that's great because that would cover definitely all of one exercise session, potentially two. Whereas others are shorter, they're about 15 minutes or so, and so listen to two of them while walking for 30 minutes, for example. So I definitely recommend podcasts as, again, a distracting thing that you do when you're doing things that you don't really enjoy. And it's obviously great for self-education as well, or just something if you have hobbies that you find podcasts about, that's, great too. Just something that interests you or something that you find educational. It's a great tool to use to get some motivation on things that are good for you, but potentially not exciting for you. Now, I also recommend some kind of brain break app as well. So there's actually two here that I have next. The first style is World Match. So this is just a quick game that you play when maybe you have, a lot of meetings with students. So in between each one, you play a game, a minute or two, right? Or you're working on grading a lot of papers at once. And so after every 10, again, you take a little break and play a game. Or you are, tied to working on a research throughout the week. And so every once in a while, again, you just need to take a breather. Maybe you play a little game. So obviously you want to find a game that you enjoy. In my case, World Match is very simple. Free app. You get 5 lives. So unless you're willing to pay for more, which I'm definitely not. So in this case, unlike going to YouTube for a brain break and then falling down a hole of watching an hour worth of videos or going on TikTok or whatever, in this case, I only have 5 lives. And then I think you have to wait like 20 minutes or something for the life to refill. So you are limited. So even if you don't have the willpower to stop after 1 game or 2 games, well, after 5, you're gonna have to wait anyways. And so you can get back to work there. So again, this would be like 5 to 10 minutes max if you're using all those lives at once. And so as far as like how this game works here, just to kind of show you, it's one of these matching games. So not difficult at all, but one that I enjoy. And so I went ahead and downloaded it. Again, free version. I play it every once in a while. So I recommend finding, okay, well, what kind of game free, I'm sure there's plenty of games out there, do you enjoy the style? Maybe it's a word puzzle kind of game, maybe it's a Sudoku, whatever the case may be, and go ahead and have it as your ready to go brain break app. So this is the fun palate cleanser type of app that you might be using when you need a break. Versus something like Unmind, which is a like mental health app that is available as a benefit through my work. So it's kind of like Headspace. It does more than Headspace, but kind of like Headspace where you can, find a meditation to do or, a guided visualization. There are some like courses. And so this is definitely tied to mental health, like more specifically than taking a brain break. But this is obviously fantastic for your breaks as well. So maybe you need a little bit more help here. So rather than doing a little game, you might do, hey, here's a 1-minute beating screen fatigue activity, right? Or, if you're doing a warm cottage rain 30-minute meditation to help you with sleep. So this is great for that aspect. Again, this is tied to, I believe, employees. I don't know if this is something you can get if you're not an employee of a company who offers it. But Headspace would be a good equivalent. I just wanted to show this one in case you do have that benefit and you haven't been using it. I do recommend it. And then the final 2, like these again are more about, finding that balance in life and, improving, right, your life. So Duolingo, I'm sure you've heard of, right? So it's an app that helps you learn a language. And so in my case, I'm trying to improve my Spanish. And so I am doing, kind of a lesson a day to keep my streak going. Sometimes I do more lessons, sometimes I do less. But as you can see here on the top, the 152, that's my current day streak. It's not, it's great because I haven't done today. So this is great. I did invest in the pro version because there's a free version, but the ads are so distracting and so annoying because you can't skip them. So like every single time you play a lesson, you have to watch an ad, and that was driving me insane. So I went ahead and just got the pro version for the year. If you do the free trial and then, afterwards you don't automatically, sign up, they do offer a discount. So I think I got it for like 60% off for a full year. And I'm like, you know what? I do want to really improve my Spanish. It is really important to me. It's one of my goals of the year. And I know that those ads will make me livid, at some point. Like it will be a reason to not do the app because of how many ads there are. So I did invest. There might be other apps that don't have as many ads. You might want to look into that. But in this case, I just went with one that I knew worked. And it is obviously very simple here. So this is what I do at least, again, once a day to keep up my streak, but do it more often as well. I do like that there is this competitive aspect to it. So if I, want to make sure that I'm increasing in the leagues or, competing against other friends, then it is an app that you can use for that purpose. And then this last one is a newer app as well. So I heard about it somewhere, I think on YouTube. And what's interesting, it's basically like The Hobbit, where you're competing against like Bilbo to, walk Middle Earth, right? So you have this element of, I've had this app, I haven't used it that much, but it does automatically track using your phone, steps. So if you have your phone on you and it's tracking your steps, then here we go, right? So day 43, and I've walked 32.7 miles. So you have this element of like where you are, right? So here you are, and then here's Mr. Underhill, who's like way ahead of the game, all the way down here. But I think it's just kind of cool to see, you're tracking in a fantasy game, which is something that I enjoy, right? So if you're not a fantasy person, you could probably care less. But again, you might want to research, like, how do you gamify your exercise if exercise isn't something you naturally enjoy? And so in my case, walking is one of my main go-tos. And so I have this fantasy hike app. So these are like 7 apps, which again, like there are others that I still use. Like there's the affirmations app that I mentioned before. There's Trello, all that. But those are mentioned in other videos I've done about apps. So, in this case, I just really recommend, like on the whole, like find an app that helps you figure out how you're using your time so you can use it more wisely, right? It doesn't have to be a tracker, but I think it's helpful to have an app that does that. Have apps that help you like keep motivated, give you a little distraction when you're doing things that you don't enjoy, but are important, are valuable, or that just help you keep focused maybe, right? So in this case, Spotify and podcasts are what work for me, what might work for you. Okay. So maybe it's YouTube, maybe you just like having background people talking to you and then you can focus, right? Or you are doing the treadmill for your exercise, so you can just have YouTube up on your phone and you can walk something so the time passes faster, right? Then again, the brain breaks. So this might be something a little fun, like Royal Match, some kind of game, or it might be something more mental health focused, like Unmind or Headspace. And then, again, things that help you, learn or help you become a better human, right? Whatever that means to you. In my case, that means learning a language and it means exercising. So how do I make that fun? How do I make that engaging? I found apps that do that as well. So it is summer at the moment when I'm recording this video, early summer. So do some experimenting. Find some apps that will work with you. Get into good habits. So when the school year begins, you're ready to go and hopefully can keep those habits up while life gets busier.
If you use any of these tools, click like and let me know. Again, feel free to share your own tools you use in the comments below and subscribe to not miss out on future content. I'll see you next time.